All right, and we are live.
Oh, jolly good. We are live, I believe. Frontier and AT&T and Time Warner Cable and all those people.
Spectrum.
Spectrum, yes. Spectrum sounds a bit of a naughty word.
Sounds like something the doctor would get you to spit in, doesn't it?
Yeah. The spectrometer. Spit in here, please.
Spit in that spectrum.
Well, hello, folks. Another week has flown by and here we go. Hope life's treating you all well. So Brexit's on again, I see. I mean, just that name annoys me. It sounds like one of those cereals you eat when you're constipated.
Yeah.
Have a spoonful of Brexit. Makes the medicine go down.
Hi, John Vaughan.
Hello, John. How are you doing? How are all your musical projects coming and your film projects? Always interested to hear from you. Let me know what's going on. So anyway, this flaming World Cup is still going on. About now as we're going on air, there's a game. It's probably England and Colombia.
Oh, as Martin would say, someone's going to die tonight.
Yes, I know. I mean, it's been really hectic, as you can imagine. I don't know if Martin wants to make any predictions or observations. And I mean, since Germany went home,
Yes.
there's been a little stress in our house because Martin was fairly vocal. Even the neighbours wondered if we were okay because they could hear the roars from the television set upstairs. And, oh, here he is now. Hello, Herr Director. But do you have any observations, Martin, or predictions, or would you rather remain anonymous? It's
Not
like
right
I'm
now.
having a Trump-free day. He's having a football-free day.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So Martin actually reckons that the fact that Germany went home is all Ruth's fault
Yeah.
because she washed his lucky jersey. And you're not supposed to. It's like don't shave while the playoffs are on or something. It's don't wash your jersey while the World Cup is on. I mean, if you didn't, you're pretty damn smelly by the end of it, I would think. But I mean, this whole merchandise thing, it's very odd. Some days you see so many different things. There's some wag now marketing a line of red baseball caps, you know, like the one that
I thought you said we were having a free day.
Thingy wears, you know,
Mr. T.
Mr. Yeah, Mr. T. Stop it now. Stop making those.
Mr. T. Rump.
Mr. T. Rump, yes.
DJ T Rub. There we go.
Anyway, no, somebody is now marketing a red baseball cap that says, "Make North Korea great again."
I love it.
Yeah, I wonder how long that'll go on before they shut him down.
Yeah.
Poor little lad. But Ruth's made some fun ones on our McCartney.com shop tab that says things like, TSA, make America late again. But don't wear that to the airport. It won't go down well. So, as my new crush, Chris Como, would say, let's get after it. We're very excited to have as our special guest in the studio today, the lovely Miss Pamela Des Barres.
Whee! Hello, Pete girl.
Cup of coffee in hand. Hello,
Yay.
darling. How are you?
I'm
Thank you
good.
for coming. Mwah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So lovely
Yeah.
to see you.
So did you ladies phone on the jewellery?
I know, isn't that
I
amazing?
know, we didn't plan it.
No, I know. Witches of Salem, look what it, yeah. Oh, I nearly flashed my boobs then. No, it's not my wig for girls, you're all right. Yeah. So, listen, let's just, you know, this lovely sweet doll of a lady. She's going to tell you all kinds of wonderful, oh, Jesus, she got some stories. Oh boy. So, without further ado, Pamela, come on.
Makes you look like the school librarian, doesn't she?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes. No, thanks for coming over today. I know our viewers would love to hear some of your stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's take a walk down memory lane. And first of all, though, tell us, what are you up to right now?
Wow, there's so much.
Always.
All roads led from my rock love, though, you know. So I have a clothing line, kind of a rock and roll clothing line, groupie.com, if you want to buy some fabulous hippie t-shirts. And we have a new necklace that says Sexual Pioneer.
Oh,
Nice.
Because that's me.
That's
baby.
you, baby.
Nice.
Yeah,
And I hope it's a
absolutely.
lot of you out there.
Oh, if only I could remember
And-
what
and-
to do, but never mind.
And I do rock and roll tours all around LA and Hollywood,
Yes.
Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
You know, that all stems from my early days with the rock gods, and people are still so fascinated
Oh, of course.
with that era, you know. So I always fill up the van with like 12 people. We go all around, I tell them stories. I have another book I'm writing, my 6th book.
6th?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's called Sex, God, and Rock and Roll. It's
Nice.
my spiritual journey.
I see.
Yeah, along with some
Yes.
other exciting tidbits.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I guess is
And
that
your
it?
writing classes?
Oh yes, of
Tell us
course.
about
Thank
it. Oh,
you,
of course,
Angie.
of course.
Yes,
Yes.
I have ongoing women's writing workshops all over now the world, kind of, because
Yes.
I teach in London and Toronto,
Yes.
and from New York to LA to Chicago to Vegas to Nashville, Austin. I mean, lots of classes, and it's women because when I first started 18 years ago teaching, I had men in the class.
Yes.
But the women held back, and the
Interesting.
men didn't.
Oh, I see.
And the
Interesting,
women
yes.
and the men didn't really go
Uh-huh.
for it, right? So I noticed when the guys were absent from class,
Uh-huh.
the girls shared a lot more and went a
Really?
lot deeper. And so
Interesting,
now it's
yeah.
all women's memoir workshops,
Great, yes.
write about themselves.
Yeah, I know a few people who've been in your classes in Chicago and Nashville, and they just love it.
Yes,
It
it's
just
pretty
helps them
special.
to open up, a whole new phase of their lives.
It does.
And
They-
how do you
they-
start? You just tell them
they-
to write things down
Well,
or
they,
talk or what?
they wind up revealing things they've
Mm.
never even said aloud somehow, because my main thing that happens is that I provide this kind of safety net for them.
Yes.
It's
Mm.
a safe place. I don't
Mm.
really teach. I sort of facilitate
Mm.
their memories
Yes.
pouring out to each other. They
Mm.
become best friends. Oh, it's
That's
amazing.
nice. Yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Way more than I expected would happen when I
Yes.
decided to teach. Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose, everybody thinks they've got a book in them, but I suppose
we all do.
I think
I-
so.
You believe that, right?
I believe everyone
Yes. Sure.
can write.
Mhm.
I really believe it's all inside us. It just
Yes.
has to be.
Somebody
Put on
wants to
paper.
know, Pamela, is there a movie version of your book?
Not yet, but there will be. It's in the works.
It's in the pipeline. Yes.
I've sold it so many times to so many people who didn't have the balls or ovaries to make the movie.
Right.
And now it looks like maybe we've got the right people
I
on
think
track.
so. Yeah.
It's
Hopefully.
right. It's the good time now for women too.
Absolutely.
Women.
Absolutely. That's right.
Right?
Yes.
About time.
Yeah.
It's
Me
a
too.
decade of the woman.
Yay.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
We'll get CeCe Peniston out on the road with us. Finally.
Yeah. Where were you? Can you remember when you were first aware of this thing called the Beatles?
Oh God, of course. I was a rock fan. I loved Elvis, and I was obsessed with Dion, of Dion and the Belmonts.
Oh yes.
In fact, I have tickets to see him next month in New Jersey.
Really?
I still go to
Wow.
see my heroes, and I'll travel
Yeah.
3,000 miles to do it. I'm
Good
insane.
girl.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
But anyway, yeah, right after that, I was 14 when the Beatles came along, and I was just ripe for it, just
Yes.
obsessed. And it's in my first book, I'm with the band. I write
Yes,
a
I know.
lot about my Paul obsession and my whole Beatle experience, which was just manic. The first album, Meet the Beatles, I
Yes.
said, okay, let's meet them. So I
You
really
took him literally an
yes, of
invitation.
course.
Do it, baby.
And I made the effort. I spent the night at their house in Bel Air, looking through the fence, trying to see if they were going to take a dip in the pool. And it was really only their roadie, Neil Aspinall, right?
Oh yeah.
He came out and swam and saw us hiding back there, and he called the cops. And the cops escorted us out of Bel Air.
Oh
Oh.
no.
Damn it. Damn
So
it.
I didn't meet him that time, but I eventually met all the Beatles.
Yeah.
That is just too wild. So were you tuned into Ed Sullivan?
Of course, I was kissing and slobbering on the screen. my parents thought I'd lost my mind. Of course, nothing like that had ever happened. Yeah,
No, that's right.
obviously. So yeah, I was just like insane,
Yeah.
like Gaga.
Did you
Before
ever
Lady
see?
Gaga.
Another thing I've always wondered about, how did you get out to go to those clubs on Sunset?
Well,
I
I was 16
yeah.
when I first went over the hill to Hollywood, and my dad worked nights.
Thank God.
So my mom.
Thank God for
That
that.
should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Thank you,
Yes.
girls. I love that t-shirt.
Jeremy Little says
My
hello,
dad
ladies.
worked
Oh,
nights.
Jeremy Little, hi.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi. See, we got
So-
the band back together.
So when you snuck out, did you go alone? Did you go with friends? How did that all play out?
I started hitchhiking over the hill with my girlfriend Sparky, and I gotta remember the first time we drank. We were.
What did you drink?
Well, it was a half a gallon jug of Gallo wine.
Oh, half a
did-
gallon. That's
we,
my
we
girl.
didn't know how much to drink, right? So we
No, I would.
and we were totally
There's an
underage.
instruction book.
We were, we were completely underage, so we had to find some guy who would finally buy us the bottle, and we drank almost the entire thing in a Catholic school playground, waiting.
Best place to
And-
live. That's my girl.
And then we hitchhiked over the hill, and what happened was unbelievable. We wound up in jail that night.
No.
Yeah.
This I didn't know. Oh, I'm
yeah.
dealing with the
Yes, we
jailbird.
wound
Show's
up
over.
in jail.
Never mind groupie couture, jailbird couture.
Did you have
That's
the
a good idea.
striped? Thing on the
No,
orange
we
jumpsuit?
didn't.
Oh, what a
It was
shame.
only one night,
Yeah.
and we got
Did
in
you get a
big
cup of cocoa?
trouble. I don't remember. We were so drunk. We fell out of this guy's car.
Oh,
Fell out of the car, and the cops saw us and came over and handcuffed Sparky because she was on the ground laughing her head off. I ran across the street into a ladies' room at a gas station because I thought they would never come into a ladies' room, but of course they did.
wrong.
Logic. Good logic though,
Oh.
good thinking.
And so I also got arrested for resisting arrest. Yeah, because I was standing up on the toilet when they came in and put handcuffs on me. A teenage girl, come on!
Oh my
Yeah, I mean,
goodness.
could never happen now, could it? No, indeed not.
But anyway, so my dad worked nights.
Well,
So
that's
he
the
never
answer.
knew I was in jail.
Oh, he never found out?
No,
No,
my mom didn't
really.
tell him certain
Bless,
things.
God bless her.
I was very
yeah.
close with my mom, so she accepted certain behaviors so we could remain close.
That's
I
interesting.
know,
Yeah,
and we
yes.
remained close her whole life.
Yeah, that's great.
This is why I love
Just
you.
like you two.
Sort
Yeah.
of, yeah.
What
she has
do you mean,
a few-
sort of?
She has a few stories, but we won't tell them right
Okay.
now. Are you allowed to tell us about Keith Moon and the Century Plaza?
Yes.
Yeah, go on then.
Keith Moon was one of my boyfriends. Whenever he came to, he's the drummer for The Who, for those of you fools who don't know who he is.
Fools. I like that.
He always sought me out whenever he came to town, and we hung out. And this was a 2-week stay when he was kicked out of every single hotel in L.A. and Hollywood.
That's
So
very
he had to pretend he was someone else. He couldn't be Keith Moon to check in.
I see.
So
Mother Teresa?
close. No, his roadie and I and Keith went to Western Costume to rent clothes, which he often did
Yeah.
because it's a long story, but he didn't like to be himself sometimes.
Oh,
So
bless it, wouldn't
I
he
know,
lovely?
I know. So he rented this long red velvet cloak with ermine on it and a crown.
As
And-
you do.
And yes, and we went to the hotel, the Century Plaza Hotel, which all the presidents stayed. It was not a rock and roll hotel. And he walked in very regal, and the roadie said, "We have Mr. Moon here from some fake country. He's a count, and we have chosen your hotel to stay in." And oh, how wonderful! They totally bought it. And we got to stay for 2 weeks in the Century Plaza Hotel in a suite.
They told him that he was Count Moon from.
Yes, from some fake country.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
how lovely.
Yeah. I know.
Slovakia.
It totally worked. But anyway, one afternoon he had me stand out on the balcony. He said, "Stand out here. I'm going to show you something."
Oh,
That was
Have you
always
seen it?
no. That was hard. That was dangerous. So I stood out there, and I saw him eventually hustled across the street to this huge fountain that is still there.
Yeah.
Big fountain across the street, and he dumped an entire box of Tide into the
Soap.
yeah,
So-
huge box of laundry soap. And
Oh.
then he came running back up,
Uh-huh.
and we watched what happened. It
The
was
bubbles.
no, it went up blocks and blocks in the air,
Foam.
down the street,
Gosh.
and stopped traffic and yeah.
Oh, how lovely.
So
That's
we had
funny.
such a laugh, and he was
Okay.
never caught. He wasn't caught.
How
He was
lovely.
such an imp.
Yeah.
He loved.
was, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story about him being in a hotel room. I think don't know, was it L.A. Ruth
If you
or
just tuned in, the ladies are talking about Keith Moon.
Keith Moon, and he wanted to talk to either his roadie
His
or
drum
some-
roadie in the room next
drum roadie
door.
in the room next door. Instead of going out of the door and knocking on, he decided to go into the bathroom and start chipping away to get through the wall into the
He
roadie.
tunneled.
No, that's so perfect. That's
Yeah,
so him.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
took the sink off the wall, somehow stopped the water, and dug a hole from one bathroom into the other because he didn't want to go out in the hall
yeah.
and knock the door.
Well,
on the
that's
door.
not very
That's not
much
bad.
sounds like him,
I
yes.
know, yeah.
And there's another story I've got to tell you about. Mitch Mitchell,
yeah.
yeah.
my favorite drummer, actually, as much as I love Keith. He was so bored during a long road trip that he started taking the furniture and somehow
that-
gluing it onto the
Yes,
ceiling. You know
I've
that
heard
story?
about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
So he
Yeah.
turned the room upside down. I don't know how he got that kind of strong glue, but
Probably screws and nails and
yeah.
help from local 54.
Yeah,
a few
unbelievable.
cases of beer.
Yeah, probably.
Unbelievable.
Backstage
story.
passes.
Yeah.
You don't hear stories like that about the modern rockers, do you?
No, well,
No, they're very tame now.
Yeah, well, they're all vegans and,
yeah,
And married.
and goat yoga.
Yeah.
yes, and fathers, and yes.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Bring your dog on tour day, and they've got their own vegan chefs and their
That's true.
feng
and they're-
shui artists and their
Yeah.
their
Oh,
goat
yes.
yoga teachers.
Yes,
and
it's not exactly rock and roll.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
when we used to check in hotels when Ange was managing rock bands, they used to do things like they would immediately go into the hotel, they would steal the good coffee maker, the kettle, and maybe a television, whip it right downstairs, and then 3 minutes later call from the room and say, "What's the meaning of this? There's no coffee maker or television in my room. The last guy must have stolen it."
Yeah,
I mean, and throwing furniture off
Well, you know,
balconies.
they were bored.
Of course.
They were
that's
bored.
right. Yeah, sure.
Well, in between shows, 23
I know.
hours a day.
I know.
Oh yes,
I
sitting
was-
on a bus with the same people after the show. And,
I know.
Yeah.
So no wonder they love the groupies. Let's face it.
That's right.
But one night reminds me of a Zeppelin story. One night we were going to the Forum. I was with Jimmy Page at the time, and we were waiting for Bonzo, John Bonham, the drummer,
Yeah.
to come out.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, this massive crash sound. He had thrown his TV over the balcony, and it landed on top of our limousine, when Jimmy and I were.
Oh.
And it
How?
and it crashed into the. We could see the TV inside the limo,
Oh my God.
but it was too late to change limo, so we drove to the Forum with the TV on top of it.
I like it.
So these things actually happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
wow.
good old days.
So was that one of your favorite dates, or what? Is there a date that sticks
Well,
out?
another date with Jimmy was he took me to Vegas to see Elvis.
Oh,
with
boy.
with Robert Plant. So
Yeah.
I sat in between them.
Oh,
Wait, let me pick that name up you just dropped for you. Wow.
I can't help it.
I know. Well, that's
know.
but
That's
that's
what you like.
that's what we love. This is
Yeah,
this
that's
is
great. Yeah.
And how was Elvis? What year was
Oh
this?
God! Well, this was the black leather phase. He had
Oh.
just started playing again
Oh.
after the special.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So he was still he was always gorgeous to me, but he was still unbelievably beautiful.
Yes.
And we were in the front row, of course, Jimmy and Robert, seeing Elvis. It was just
Yeah.
insane.
Surreal, right?
But there was a downside to this because Red West, Elvis's guy, came over and said, "Would you like to meet Elvis after the show?" And Jimmy said, "Oh no, thank you."
Oh.
Yeah. And Robert and I looked at each other like, "What is happening?"
What is
So
wrong
I
with
didn't
him?
get to meet Elvis that night.
Oh, that's wild.
Strange.
That
Sad.
is wild.
I wonder
And what
why
would
he
you-
said no.
I know. I
How-
don't know. Maybe it's because he thought I might just go off with Elvis.
Maybe.
Very likely.
Maybe.
One
Hey,
never knows.
got a bigger name on the other line.
Yeah.
You never know,
Oh,
right?
dear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how painstaking was it to decide what to wear and what goes with what, and your whole fashion world? When did that, like, to wear to these big events? Because you had to know you'd be photographed and seen. And,
I never thought. Well, I thought about how I was going to look, of course, and I loved vintage clothes, still
Yes.
do, you know,
Yes.
and I wanted to stand out always. I wanted
course.
to be the most visually attractive person in the room always. So that started really young.
Yeah.
well,
So
you've done it again.
So I just
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
so I just wanted to doll myself up and be noticed and, you know, stand out among these incredible standouts that
Yes.
I was always with. And yeah, I have a clothing line now.
Right.
Yeah, it's Groupie.
Come on,
It's
yes.
called Groupie, of course.
Of course.
And online it's groupieyou.com. We have real cute t-shirts with some of my sayings on them and pictures of me. And we have some, like I said, a beautiful necklace sexual pioneer.
I love
Oh,
that.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
good name.
It is a good
Yeah,
name.
isn't it? Yes.
And your license plate, of course.
Oh, yes.
Groupie.
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 How on earth
How
did
on
you
earth
get
did you
that?
I know. I can't believe I got it. I
Yeah.
went there and asked for it, and it was available.
Good grief.
But
That's
twice they spelled it wrong. So
Oh,
it
no.
took me a long time to get it.
Yeah.
How do you spell groupie wrong?
I
I
know.
know.
What, Grewpy?
You don't want to know how bad
Because
this
they're old farts and they don't know what groupies are, you see.
Well,
I'm an old fart and I do.
Yes.
Thank
Maybe
God.
they're young farts and they don't know
Well,
what
yeah,
groupies are.
some of the young people really don't know. I
No.
mean, when Paul recorded with Kanye West and Rihanna, somebody said, didn't he used to be in some other band?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know.
They're so young, they
they're
don't
so
remember either
young. They're
Wings
so
or the
young.
Beatles.
Yeah.
I was giving a presentation back east and about big data and Beatles fan club data and how we've come, into the digital age now. And I flashed at one of my screens is that publicity shot of Kanye, Rihanna, and Paul.
Yes.
And one of the students put his hand up and I said, yes, question. And he said, who's that old white guy in the middle?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Seriously.
For real?
For
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
For reals.
I know.
For
How do
real,
you answer
stud.
that? Yeah.
I know. I'm like, oh, well.
But that's ignorance.
I
You know, I mean, that's just ignorance.
Yeah, his teacher was a little embarrassed. He was a little edged.
Yeah, but Ruth worked with somebody quite recently in a studio who said, well, it's up to you older people to educate us. We don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
I am an older person now.
I'm an older person. I'm an older person than you, than anybody. Just a little bit younger than God.
I wouldn't trade my life for anything.
No, good. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
Because I know you've had some ups and downs.
Oh
but
yeah, of
more
course
ups
we
and
all
downs.
have, haven't
Absolutely,
we?
everybody does.
Yeah.
But it's a question of keeping cheerful.
Yes,
about
it is.
isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
But
every
you still,
morning-
you're like us. You still have a relationship with people you've known for many years. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
your ex, Michael, and you are still, in touch. And
Oh, very close.
Oh yeah.
how did you meet him? How did you meet Michael Des Barres?
Oh, I was an actress for a short period of time, and I was starring in my first big movie, and Keith Moon was supposed to play the rock star, and he didn't show up. What a surprise. And so we had to scour New York, where we were filming, for a rock star who could act.
Yes.
And Michael Silverhead happened to be playing New York that week, and he was a child actor in
Yes.
England. So
Sure.
he's been acting from time he was 7 years
sure.
old.
Yeah.
So he played the role,
Oh,
and he said he fell in love with me the day we met.
That's
Oh.
great. Yes.
He'd been married to someone else for 3 weeks, but that didn't matter.
oh boy.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
They said it would never last.
And they say timing is everything.
Absolutely, I know.
Holy
Anyway,
moly.
we're like siblings now. We were
Yes.
together 14 years,
Yeah.
and we're like
That's
brother
great.
and sister now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're both only children. So
Yes.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Valerie's saying she remembers he was into Sir with Love.
Yes, he was at 16 years of age.
Really.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Isn't
Yes.
it?
And was that was Lulu that sang the theme tune, wasn't
Yes, yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh,
That's
Lulu's a
right.
good old friend of ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
it? Absolutely.
Isn't it amazing? It's this real down memory lane story
Oh,
this
yeah.
morning, isn't it?
Well, it's amazing that we all lived for so many years, 3 miles apart, and we never met
I
until
know.
I know.
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Was it really only 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah,
I think so.
I know. It's amazing.
And by the way, folks, Pamela has graciously agreed to appear in the documentary that's in pre-production. It's called "Here's a Story." That's lovely ladies.
Yeah.
And she's filmed.
Well,
the
Lawrence
second-
Juber is watching,
Oh,
so
hello, Lawrence.
there's
Hi.
there's the hope
Hello,
hope
Pam.
connection to
Yes.
that
Oh, talking of happy marriages, Lawrence and Hope. Oh,
forever.
Oh, it's
lovely.
wonderful.
And,
And Valerie Blaze is saying that she danced to Sir with Love at her wedding with her dad.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
isn't that nice? Yeah, I know.
I love these
Hello,
chats.
everybody.
Yeah.
We're only missing the fireside, aren't we? The fireside chat.
Yes.
So where's the next city on your writing workshop tour? What do you have
I
planned?
just got back from New Orleans,
Wow,
and
fun.
I teach here in LA too, and I have some openings.
Okay, good.
So
Really
just
good.
so
Well,
just
why
go
don't
to
you tell everybody where to find you?
Well, it's, I'm on Facebook, and you can follow me on public. And let me know if you want to join writing class. It's Sunday nights, excuse me,
It's all right.
in LA. And the next city I'm going to is Chicago. Is it Chicago? Or Austin? I don't
It's
know.
all on the website, right?
Yes, it's PamelaDesBarres.com, of course.
Yes, okay.
So, yeah, anybody
Fine.
wants to reach
Yeah.
me, that's where you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And on Instagram, and Twitter,
Oh,
and
gosh,
everything else.
So many of these social
I
media
know.
things, aren't there? I know, I can't keep up with it all. But listen, a million thanks, Pamela, for coming to our little corner of the playa.
Absolutely.
And,
Are we going to shock and amaze Pamela and the folks with one of our stupid ditties?
oh, yes, yes.
We were doing ditties every week.
Oh.
I'm going to come and
Oh,
perch
really?
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I knew the ditty.
We were doing ditties, and they started to get cut by Facebook because they said they were copyright. And these are old,
Oh,
like
no.
1920s,
heaven's sake.
1930s.
Old Howard
Am I in the
songs.
frame
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
Martz? Do you want to pan it left a bit? Am
I can squeeze in.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Where's that?
Yes.
Try and
Sure.
get my
Join the
bum on
couch.
Yay!
Yay.
How many people can we get on the couch? It's like
There you go. It's perfect.
how many things can you get in a?
All right. So copyright warning for Facebook. This is
Okay.
No,
public
no,
domain.
it's actually a
No.
limerick.
This is a limerick. It's nothing to do with anybody's copyright.
It's,
Okay, good.
It's actually a mathematical conundrum for
Yes,
those of you
fine.
math heads out there.
All right.
A young engineer named of Paul, who had one octagonal ball, the square root of his weight,
The square root of his weight.
weight times his pecker
Plus
plus
8
8 is his phone number. Give
Give
him a call.
But I'm bummed.
All right. Let's do that again. That was atrocious.
We
You can do better.
Insulted by bigger producers.
You
than
can do better.
darling.
Should I join in?
Directors,
Yes,
yes,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Right.
on 3. 1, 2, 3. A
A
young engineer named of Paul, who had one octagonal ball, the square root of his weight times his pecker plus 8 is his phone number. Give him a call.
Will that do? Have we passed the audition?
See you next week.
Bye, folks. See you next
Kids,
week. Bye
Happy
bye.
4th. Lots of love.